This is my answer for everyone that asks me about hybrid vehicles and electric cars. People always ask me, what do I think of the future of the automotive world, and what do I think of hybrids and electric cars and Tesla and Rimac and all these companies, and I commend them for what they're doing, and I understand that, you know, politicians in the world, the global community has definitely made the decision that the world will be electrified. I mean, there's a few exceptions. There's talk of Porsche creating a new biofuel, which is absolutely fantastic. And while I love the new cars, I think there's some great new cars coming out. The world will never be the same once the combustion engine is gone, and I think this car best describes that. We are driving today in a 1990 Countach 25th anniversary, built in celebration of the 25th anniversary of Lamborghini, and designed by Ferarris and Lamborghinis, a incredible car that for many years was unloved by enthusiasts and collectors. And you know, the U.S. Primarily got fuel injection models. I believe there was a few carbureted cars that made it to Canada. And the U.S. also got ugly front bumpers, and most U.S. dealers installed the iconic wing. And I think that is the main reason why the Countach 25th anniversary was so unloved for many years, was because it wasn't pure. The majority of the cars that were imported to the U.S. were not pure to the original design and concept of the provenance. Answer for everyone that asks me about hybrid vehicles and electric cars. You cannot duplicate this sensory experience. It's the sound, the popping, the smell, the vibration in the cabin. It's that that is a V12, almost 500 horsepower, Weber carburetor stacked, and when you punch it, you almost feel the fuel go through the engine. I'm sorry, but technology cannot replace this. Represents the largest production motor that was ever fitted with carburetors, one of the highest horsepower of any carbureted engine production car, and it's just magnificent. What's funny is for years I didn't purchase many Countach anniversaries, and I think I sort of misunderstood the original concept. I misunderstood what they represent, and you know, to compare this to a Countach is really inappropriate. A Countach, you know, early Countaches, especially on the P7R 205 tires, no side skirts, an LP 400S go-kart. You know, they're very nimble cars. They don't have the horsepower of these later engines. They're much lighter, but it's the exact opposite of the anniversary car. This car is a complete brute. This car is the 200-mile-per-hour supercar. You can almost say this is the pre-production to the bulky, fat Lamborghini Diablo. It's absolutely crude. It's radical. So in many ways, I almost say you can't compare the anniversary to an early Countach. It really is its own car. And you know, for years I had never driven a European spec car. I had never been in the presence of a European spec car without the terrible US front bumper, without a wing. So when I first encountered this car, I had sold a Tahiti blue over red European spec downdraft. That's when I really started to fall in love with these cars and really appreciate them for Pagani's pure design. I've told many people that we are keeping this car because I've really fallen in love with it. It's an absolute blast to drive. And one of the biggest differences I would say with the Countach 25th anniversary and the early cars is really their fit and finish. You know, you can still find very nicely preserved Countach examples. And I think the impact of Chrysler, you know, Chrysler purchased Lamborghini from the Memram brothers in 1987. And I would say the biggest thing you can see is the fit and finish is totally different. The paintwork, the materials used, all of the use of carbon fiber, carbon Kevlar. Look at the interiors even are produced much nicer. You know, it's almost impossible to find a well-preserved, you know, original paint, early generation Countach, pre-anniversary Countach, where you can still today find a very, very nice 25th anniversary car. And this car is just, you know, it's fantastic. It has this little wrapper over the ash, the cigarette lighter. The interior still smells very pungent. And I don't know what it is about 25th anniversary leather. There might be an expert that can chime in, but it smells so strong, and it's this sort of romantic smell. And this car in many ways is like a romance. I've sort of fallen in love with its spec. I've fallen in love with the European carbureted specification, and definitely the color and condition. This is one that may stay at Curated for many, many years. I cannot fake this smile and enthusiasm and that sound. I'm sort of reminiscing now on the combustion engine, reminiscing on the Countach 25th anniversary, and thinking, well, it might not be perfect. You know, I think every time starting a you know, carbureted Countach, you know, you have to turn the key, you let the carburetors fill up with fuel, you pump the gas a few times, you crank, and you hope you got it that time. But there's something magical about that looking back, and once fuel injection came out, it's the ease of, you know, the use, where you can daily drive a fuel injection car. We sort of lost some of the magic, and I think that's the same thing with the new hybrid cars and these, you know, full electric cars. We've lost this magic, and I don't think we'll truly understand it until we look back. There's actually a lot of little differences with the Countach anniversary that we don't always notice. One of them, the biggest thing, is the digital AC system that was used, started in 1988 and a half. It's this block here that was later used, I believe, until 1999 in Diablos. So it was used for many, many years. First introduced the anniversary in 1988 and a half. Countach also got additional AC vents, some better circulation throughout the cabin. They got a revised steering wheel, a revised shifter, a revised console tunnel, because it had these two electric switches for the windows. This was sort of a useless design, let's face it. An electric window to go down 4 inches, but in addition, that was first seen on the 25th anniversary. If you look, the door panels are different. They have this pleating. The seats actually came in 2 different versions. They came with a sport seat, which I've only seen 1 or 2 US cars delivered with a sport seat. And then this folding seat that was also actually electric. Again, probably a silly design to add to a Countach, because the seat would move probably 4 inches forward and back, and this back part of the seat moves, let's see, Now I've got a little tilt here, and the back moves. Okay, maybe that's 5 full inches. So really, it's sort of funny to even add electric motors into this car, but definitely an update for the Countach 25th anniversary cars. And I would say you feel that the 25th anniversary is just so much more planted than the earlier cars. It's not a go-kart anymore. This is a fat, wide supercar, ready for the Autobahn, ready for 200 miles per hour, and just so fast, so responsive. They rev so quick. That is a characteristic of the European spec downdraft engines. It's like looking back on a perfect symphony or a perfect piece of art. Saying, wow, we've perfected it. We could do it much better, systematically. But the romance is just not there. And it's interesting to note that, really this car is important to the history of Mauricio Pagani. He now owns a beautiful European spec 25th anniversary. I believe it's Bianco Perlato Rosso. That's permanently on display in the Pagani Museum. It's part of his personal collection. And there are some great pictures of his original penning design. And really the Countach body stayed the same. All of the aluminum body panels stayed very similar. The front fenders, the rear fenders were slightly modified for the lower rear bumper. The rear panel was modified. All of the side skirts were definitely modified. The front nose was modified. So really this car looks a lot different when you park it next to an earlier Countach. The scoops were completely redesigned. They're sort of a more aerodynamic fixture now on the rear fenders, and really a true evolution of the Countach versus just a comparison to the early cars. There is nothing that replaces the symphony of a V12 carbureted engine. There's just nothing quite like it. I think this Countach